right, lots and lots to get to on this Wednesday evening. Hi, everyone. It's Eric here with weather for Weather Geeks. We have a very impactful cold front tracking our way as we head into Thursday, and especially into Thursday night, with a rain component, a freezing rain component, a wind component, a falling temperatures component, black ice. Lots of things to discuss, so let's not waste any time. Just first things first, just a quick review of today's temperatures. As promised, it was the warmest day since January 1st today. We had a high of 53 at the airport, the warmest temperature we've had since it was 55 on the very first day of the year. So even though clouds tended to increase during the afternoon, it was still overall a very, very nice day. All right, the Weather Service in Cleveland and Pittsburgh did expand the coverage of flood watches across the region today, including just about all of northern Ohio and the western tier of Pennsylvania as well. And in addition to the flood watch, we also have flood warnings already out for the length of the Mahoning River from Newton Falls and Southington and Braceville and Leavittsburg through Warren down into the Youngstown area as well. Flood warnings are out for areas adjacent to the Mahoning River. This could be one of our more serious river flooding events that we've had in recent years. And here's a look at some expected crests for the Mahoning River specifically. Now, we're not expecting problems at this point along the Ohio River down towards East Liverpool, Wellsville area. Some of our other rivers certainly can run high, but we have gauges on the Mahoning River at these locations, and so it's a little bit easier to say what the river levels are and what they will be as we go through time. So at Leavittsburg, the Mahoning River expected to crest Friday afternoon around 16 feet. Now that's major flood stage. Warren, 13.2 feet, also major flood stage. Down into Youngstown, 18.5 feet, the expected crest. That is in the moderate flood stage. And notice all these crests are Friday, not tomorrow. There's usually a lag time when it comes to river flooding. The heavy rain is tomorrow. The next day is when the rivers crest, although they're already going to be getting high and into flood stage during the course of our Thursday, but they should reach their peak or their crest on Friday. Eagle Creek near Braceville also has a flood warning out on it. The creek not expected to reach major flood stage, but maybe just tickling the bottom of what we call moderate flood stage at about 13.5 feet. That crest expected Friday morning at 13.65. Wanted to take a moment and look at some historical river crests for the Mahoning River and for Eagle Creek at Phalanx Station. This is Eagle Creek, again, near Braceville. Some historic crests here at the top of the heap. Many of you remember the flooding back in July of 2013, 13.46 feet. Now, again, our expected crest for Eagle Creek this time around is not expected to be quite that high, but still, it could be flirting with that number before things are through here. So that's Eagle Creek, and then the Mahoning River. This is for near Leavittsburg. The top of the heap here is from way back in 1913, 24 feet. More recently, in some summertime flooding in 2003, 17.16 feet. And also back in, let's see, we mentioned 2003, also in 2013, 16.21 feet. Another more kind of recent crest. For the Mahoning River at Warren, the top crest here back in 1913, 21 feet. More recently, again, summer of 2003 at 14.88 feet. So that's Warren. And finally, down in Youngstown area, historic crests here. 1913 again makes the top of the list here at 26.5 feet. More recently, July of 2003, 17.49. Now, we're not expecting our river flooding this time to be as bad as some of the top numbers here, but still, this will be one of the, has the potential anyway to be one of the worst river flooding episodes that we've had in recent years. The combination of rain, snowmelt, and of course ice jams along these rivers. Ice is very unpredictable how it's going to behave and how it could impact some of the river levels, but with a fair amount of ice breaking up and moving around over the next 24 to 36 hours, we could have some problems along those river beds. Rainfall forecasts have been trending up, of course, over the last 48 hours. Now it seems like an inch is in the bag for the entire region. I think a lot of us are going to see about an inch and a half worth of rain. Now, in our remaining snowpack, which melted quite a bit today and will continue to melt tonight, we're only going to drop into the upper 40s tonight. That snow is melting, but they're still contained in what snow is left on the ground, a half an inch to maybe an inch or so worth of liquid in some spots. So that's going to melt. We're going to get an inch and a half of rain And yeah, so it's just too much water at one time for our water systems. Our system did not look like much earlier on today, but it is starting to pick up the pace this evening, with moisture starting to blossom from the lower Mississippi Valley through the northern parts of the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, and into the Ohio Valley as well. I can't even rule out a quick sprinkle or a shower around here before this evening is through. A quick check of the radar here when I'm recording this at 7:17 shows, yeah, maybe a little light rain. Some of this probably isn't even reaching the ground, but a sprinkle, a quick shower will be a possibility for this evening. All right, let's walk through the next couple of days. Now, through the daylight hours tomorrow, we are on the warm side of this front. We're just going to see rain through sunset. And some of this could be heavy at times. Also a gusty wind from time to time, although the wind, compared to everything else, will be pretty low impact. Our trouble potentially begins then as we head a few hours after sunset into the mid and late evening as the cold air starts wrapping in. A period of sleet and freezing rain will be a possibility. Now, I don't think that window lasts all that long. A few hours. It's not going to be like we had a couple of weeks ago where some places had 15 hours of sleet and freezing rain. This isn't going to be that. Maybe a few hours. Even if this is pretty low impact as far as the actual freezing rain and the sleet, later at night, as the temperatures crash, anything wet, and there's going to be a lot of things that are wet after an inch and a half of rain, puddles and meltwater and just standing water all over the place, a lot of that's going to have a chance to freeze solids. Black ice, I think, is going to be a big concern for early morning commuters on Friday. Maybe a couple of flurries will be out there as well, but I think the snow overall will be pretty low impact around here. Sunshine breaks out Friday afternoon, and then on Saturday, a quick little potent system moves through. I think this will be a kind of a sneaky wind producer Saturday morning and midday. We could see some 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts for a time during the first half of the day Saturday. Also some flurries and maybe even a snow squall in a couple of spots during the first part of Saturday. I think the weather will quiet down some during the second half of the day, but let's not sleep on Saturday morning. This could be potentially impactful weather as we kick off the weekend. This is one doozy of a front. Very sharp temperature gradient as this front moves in from northwest to southeast. Here's just a snapshot of about 5:30. Now, our model here might be a little bit fast by maybe an hour, 2 hours on the arrival of the front. It may be more like up here at 5:30. It's kind of hard to say, but the front will be trying to enter the area just after sunset. So you're going to go from the mid-50s to the mid-30s in what takes about an hour and a half to drive. And that process, of course, will continue for the rest of the evening with, again, very sharp temperature gradient here. 6:30, 7, 8 o'clock, you're going to see 50s in some places and lower 30s in some other places. And probably start to have some sleet mixed in with the rain the farther north and west you are. Then freezing rain becomes a concern for a little while as we drop below freezing, and then eventually by Friday morning we're well down into the 20s, and wind chills will be in the single digits. Again, lots of impacts from rain and potential flooding and maybe a freeze up and maybe some freezing rain for a time. Snow is one of the least of our concerns here in our TV viewing area. Now up near the lakeshore, up near I-90, might be a couple of inches Friday night, first thing Saturday morning. The bullseye, though, is going to be from northern Indiana into the Detroit and Toronto zone through there. I'm not expecting big-time impacts from snow on Thursday night and Friday morning around here. The wind component. Now, this isn't going to be crazy for most of Thursday, kind of like today. There's going to be a gusty breeze, but it's not going to be the kind of thing that's going to be just, super impactful. Now, as we head into the evening and our cold front approaches, especially south of I-80, the models are showing kind of this little low-level jet accompanying our frontal passage or the approach of our front. And so especially south of I-80, there might be some strong winds briefly for an hour or two Thursday evening. That's something we'll be watching out for in a lot of Columbiana County especially as the evening unfolds. And then Friday, the wind starts to calm down. But again, Saturday morning could be a pretty windy period. Real quick about the longer range. If you've been watching Weather for Weather Geeks lately, we've changed our tune some on the longer range. It looked like last week that February would end on a mild note and that mild stretch would continue into March. Now it looks like that's not going to happen for many reasons, most of them having to do with what's going on in the Pacific Ocean. But what's going on, a 10-hour plane ride away has downstream implications, and it's going to open the door back up to some cooler weather as we head into the final couple of days of February and into the start of March as well. So those of us, including me, who are hoping for a prolonged stretch of mild weather to wrap up meteorological winter and start meteorological spring, doesn't look like it's going to happen. Hopefully the rest of March we'll see a change in the overall pattern. I'm ready for some spring weather. Today was a nice little tease. That's it for me tonight. Thanks for watching Weather for Weather Geeks. Lots to talk about. You know you can follow me on social media and get the latest updates. And tonight we'll actually be on early instead of late. 21 News at 11 will air at 10:30. So if you're not much of a night owl and want to catch the late news before heading to bed for the night, you can do so an hour earlier tonight, and that makes a lot of us here happy. We've had some late nights with the Olympics over the last couple of weeks, but tonight is an early one. So the update will be then on television, but of course online you can find updates anytime.